All right, let's dive into the 18th edition of the Global Innovation Index. This is WIPO's big annual look at the pulse of innovation across 139 countries. And, the story it's telling this year is really about a world in transition, kind of caught between two powerful and really opposite forces. So that brings us to the central question, right? Is global innovation actually slowing down? Well, the answer from the data, it's not a simple yes or no. Instead, what it shows us is this really fascinating paradox that's right at the heart of all our progress. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you can see the money is tightening up. R&D growth is hitting the brakes, and that venture capital funding is still recovering. But then you look at the other side and boom, technological progress isn't just chugging along. It's accelerating at a frankly breakneck pace, especially in areas like green tech, energy, and AI. So how in the world do we make sense of this? It's a real puzzle. In this first part, we're going to dig into the numbers and really try to get a handle on this incredible contradiction. So what exactly is this Global Innovation Index, or GII? Well, you can think of it as the world's most detailed annual checkup on innovation. It goes way, way beyond just counting patents. It looks at everything from a country's school system and its infrastructure to the business climate, giving us this really complete 360-degree picture. So let's take a closer look at this investment slowdown. R&D growth, it has slumped to its lowest level since the 2008 financial crisis. Ouch. Venture capital, which is pretty much the lifeblood for startups, is still having a tough time bouncing back. And get this, the money that is getting invested is getting super concentrated, with just a few hot technologies soaking it all up. But that's really only half the story. Because while the investment side looks kind of grim, the actual pace of technological progress is, well, it's anything but. Let's look at the proof. Okay, get ready, because we're going to hit you with some pretty incredible numbers. In just 1 year, the price of lithium-ion battery packs dropped by over 20%. That is a total game changer, making everything from EVs to massive energy storage way more affordable for everyone. And it's not just batteries. Check out computing power. The efficiency of the world's greenest supercomputers, it jumped by a massive 65.7%. We are getting so much more computing power for the energy we put in, which is absolutely crucial for building a sustainable future. And just to top it all off, look at solar power. Since 2010, the cost has cratered by an astonishing 90%. Today, making electricity from the sun is now 56% cheaper than using the cheapest fossil fuels. That is a fundamental shift in how we power our world. And this kind of progress is just everywhere. The famous Moore's Law in computing, still holding strong. In healthcare, the cost to sequence a human genome has collapsed from $100 million to just over $500. That's just mind-blowing. And on our streets, EVs have gone from almost 0 to nearly 5% of all cars in the world, all in just 1 decade. Okay, so with all this crazy progress happening, who's actually leading the charge? Let's pivot from the what to the who and see which countries and cities are really driving these amazing trends. At the very, very top of the list, we see some familiar faces. It's a pretty stable group of leaders, actually. Switzerland is holding on to that #1 spot again, followed by Switzerland, the United States, the Republic of Korea, and Singapore. These countries just consistently show this incredible, well-rounded strength across the board. But the biggest headline from the rankings, for sure, is China. For the very first time, it has cracked the top 10. And this is a huge deal. It's the first time a middle-income economy has ever joined that elite club. It really signals a major shift in the global innovation landscape. And if we zoom in from countries to specific cities, the report is crystal clear. The San Jose-San Francisco Bay Area is still the world's #1 innovation hotspot. It's followed by 2 other massive powerhouses, Cambridge over in the UK and the Boston-Cambridge hub right here in the US. Okay, so we've looked at the trends, we've looked at the leaders, but so what? Why does any of this actually matter? In this next section, let's connect the dots to see the real-world impact on our economies, our lives, and our planet. The impact of all this innovation is a real double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's fueling this huge productivity boom. But on the other hand, all our progress is literally heating the planet. Global temperatures are now a pretty stark 1.29 degrees Celsius above the 20th century baseline. And this slide right here, this shows one of the most critical challenges we face: The benefits of all this innovation are just not being shared equally. Just look at 5G coverage. In high-income countries, 84% of people are covered. In low-income countries, that number drops to just 4%. That's not just a gap, that's a chasm. Now, despite these massive challenges, the bigger picture is still one of progress. Global life expectancy is up to 73 years. Extreme poverty keeps on falling. The real sticky problem is that adopting those really expensive big-ticket technologies is slowing down, which just widens that gap between the world's haves and have-nots. So, after all that, the paradox, the leaders, the impacts, what does it all mean for the future? Let's take a look at the road ahead and the core challenge that really comes out of this year's report. This really sums up the new reality. The challenge for us now is twofold. First, we have to keep this incredible momentum of discovery going. But at the exact same time, we have to urgently fix the deeply unequal way its benefits are spread out. And we have to tackle those environmental consequences head-on. And that leaves us with the final and most important question. It's not just about innovating more, it's about innovating better. How can we consciously steer all of this incredible human ingenuity toward a future that isn't just more advanced, but is also sustainable and truly inclusive for every single person on this planet? That, right there, is the challenge of our time.